From remote highways that stretch across many countries to dangerous streets of Detroit, here are the most dangerous roads you want to avoid. Number 12. Milford Road, New Zealand. Driving through Milford Road in New Zealand, you might begin to believe you're on some quest from the Lord of the Rings. This highway is found in the southern part of the country near Fiordlands National Park, and the jagged, steep mountains are simply amazing. But keep in mind, if you fall off one of those mountains in your car, it's not going to go so great. Also known as Highway 95, you'll be driving through some heavily wooded forest. You'll also witness some jaw-dropping waterfalls and gorge streams. The 144-mile road will guarantee at least 3 hours of views that will simply be unforgettable. The only problem is, a lot of people forget to pay attention to the road. It's regarded as the most scenic road in New Zealand, which means it's bound to be good. But possibly due to its scenic and isolated nature, it's also the third most dangerous highway in the country. Number 11. The Atlantic Roadway. Witness the beauty and the power of the Atlantic Roadway by taking a drive on Norway's Atlantic Highway, or also known as the National Road 60. The Atlantic on this side of the world can be much more intense, and it'll feel like that when you're driving directly over the waves. If the waves are strong enough, be expecting to get splashed a little bit. Norway is known for the natural beauty of their fjords and coastline, and this is good, but maybe a little bit of a dangerous way to witness it. There's been 12 recorded hurricanes that have passed right through this highway. It's 5 miles long with a total of 8 bridges. It's been awarded the status of the National Tourist Route of Norway because of its incredible coastline it passes by. If you're lucky, you might even spot a whale. Number 10. The Road of Bones. Any road out there built by Soviet Gulag prisoners doesn't sound like a road you want to drive on. This highway in Russia was one of their deadliest engineering projects, and it gets its nickname from the dead workers who were built under the highway. Also known as the R504 Kolmia Highway, it connects Magadan to Yakutsk. The road was built with convict labor from the brutal Sevoslag camp. The road is built on permafrost or frozen soil, in other words. Working on this project was more like digging your own grave, especially during winter. In the far east of Russia, this area is known for the coldest average temperature in the world. It might be even negative 50 degrees while you're driving outside. Many convicts would actually freeze to death while trying to build this thing. Although the road was eventually completed, the engineers didn't put too much into consideration about the loss of human life for constructing it. Number 9. The Sichuan-Tibet Freeway. Driving on the Tibet-Sichuan Highway could also be intimidating as well, especially if you're afraid of heights. This mountainous region in Central Asia is commonly home to earthquakes, making there an obvious threat for landslides, floods, and even avalanches. The 1,000-mile road connects the Tibetan capital of Lhasa and also the provincial capital of Chengdu. China is already one of the most dangerous places in the world to drive, with the number of car crashes doubling in the past 20 years. But strangely enough, this newly built, somewhat isolated road was certainly a major factor in that statistic. Take your Maserati on a stroll somewhere else. Number 8. Passage de Gois. How would you feel about driving down a road that is completely flooded at least 2 times each day? Passage de Gois is located on the west side of France, near Nantes, and connects the mainland of France with the island of Noirmoutier. It's certainly a challenge driving here, and you probably would be better off taking a ferry ride. The bridge was built too low, and the tide will completely engulf the bridge. Any cars unlucky enough to be driving here will also be engulfed. Even once the bridge is above water, it's normally covered with seaweed or other ocean debris. Cold conditions will definitely make it a little bit more difficult with extra ice. Number 7. The Pan American Costa Rica Highway. The Pan American Highway stretches all the way from Alaska to parts of South America, and it's the longest motorable road according to Guinness World Records. Only a small stretch of it goes through Costa Rica, but this is certainly the most dangerous part. Would you be willing to drive over a hill called the Hill of Death? This mountainous area gets its nickname for the large amount of accidents due to the heavy fog and heavy tropical rain that covers the roads. Some lanes have been known to actually crumble apart due to landslides, and it's known for its horrendous potholes. Driving here at night could be nothing less than a request for suicide, and accidents happen daily. Don't take your well-maintained roads here in the US for granted. Number 6. Overseas Highway, Florida. But if you can make the driving part of your sightseeing and vacation, you can see much more beautiful places in a short period of time. This beautiful highway in the Florida Keys might be a very scenic route to take. The drive can be almost just as enjoyable as relaxing on a resort. If you're in southern Florida and you consider taking the amazing drive from Miami to the Florida Keys along the Overseas Highway, just consider you've been warned. This highway connects the mainland of Florida with dozens of tropical Caribbean islands known as the Florida Keys. You can enjoy breathtaking views of the ocean on both sides. But just keep in mind that this highway is often a hotspot for hurricanes. Places to stop along the way include Key Largo, John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park, and other cool places. Before you reach Key West, you'll hit a long bridge called the 7 Mile Bridge. This will almost make you feel like you're in a boat and not in a car. But you can see the damage done here by natural disasters with this railroad bridge that was damaged after a hurricane. Number 5. Most roads in China. This isn't trying to come off as stereotypical or anything, but China is still a growing country and the personal automobile is still somewhat of a new luxury. Let's just remember that China has over 1 billion people, but only 30% own cars. That's still 300 million people on streets that are not always properly maintained, don't always have traffic lights, and 700 million people who have to try to stay out of the way. Remember, a lot of those cars are big semi-trucks transporting things such as coal or other goods. Here in this photo, we see a car carrier barely clinging on to a cliffside in Guangdong, China. It went over the median and a dramatic rescue had to take place. There are quite a few challenges of driving in the world's most populous country. Some mega highways here have as many as 50 lanes. But the streets do still get quite congested, as you can tell from this photo. Cars can often come to a complete standstill for hours on end. This guy here has time to do push-ups in the middle of the streets while cars are immobile. It also seems like a tailgate party in the middle of the freeway sometimes. Number 4. Ice Road Truckers. These are no ordinary truckers. They're the ones who take the chance of driving in some of the most inhospitable conditions on Earth. Places like the northwestern territories of Canada, Alaska, and Siberia. They willingly drive their massive big rigs over frozen lakes that can cave in at any time, which could result in them freezing to death. Not to mention the massive snowstorms that are nearly impossible to see through. People who enjoy this job take it as a good challenge, but many won't even make it past a couple of days. For those who drive on the frozen lake ice, it's not a matter of if they'll sink, more of a matter of when. Number 3. 8 Mile Road. Everyone knows that the city of Detroit, Michigan has been going through a rough time, and many have fled their homes after the automobile business began to suffer from a financial crisis. And that's right, this is the street where the rapper Eminem grew up on. Detroit is the capital of arson, and it's one of the biggest streets, and it's certainly dangerous here. This might not be a highway, but it's one of the roughest streets in North America. 8 Mile was originally a dirt road that eventually expanded, got bigger, and eventually paved. For decades, 8 Mile Road has been a dangerous strip of abandoned buildings, struggling businesses, and crime activity. It's not uncommon to find people wandering this street who are up to no good. Many report trying to walk here late at night and find themselves getting mugged. This shouldn't really be considered a scenic drive by any means, and finding yourself here late at night could be a death wish. Number 2. 318 National Highway. Imagine getting on this remote road and having your car break down in the middle of the Himalayan mountains. You better hope you watch some survival videos on our channel or you'll be in big trouble. This China National Highway runs all the way from Shanghai to Zhengmu, which is found on the border of Nepal and China. It's a really big street, and it's in China, which makes it pretty dangerous. It's known for its sharp curves and steep inclines, which motorists attempt to maneuver their way through. One famous stretch of road would almost make you think the engineer came up with this idea while he was slightly drunk or something. In this photo, we see part of the mountain drive where motorists get close to Nepal and are blinded by sharp curves that will challenge even the most experienced drivers. It's not uncommon for this road to experience snow or landslides as well. And number 1, I-15, Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Roughly 8 million people drive back and forth from Las Vegas to Los Angeles each year, and it's also one of the most dangerous roads in the US. AAA stated that this 180-mile stretch of land has had more fatalities than anywhere else in Nevada. Much of this drive is quite remote in the middle of the Mojave Desert, with only a few places every now and then to stop for gas. AAA also stated that many of the accidents that occurred along this big stretch of freeway were from distracted drivers or drivers who were drinking. We should also keep in mind that many people taking this drive from Vegas may be a little bit hungover from whatever they did on Saturday night, and they also might not be in the best condition to drive. There were over 180 fatalities within a 5-year period span along this highway, but hopefully, things will get better as new lanes are added.
Which one did you find to be the scariest? Let us know in the comment section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And be sure to hit that subscribe button.